Fair Independent brief. 20 April 22. 420 man. Poland's health minister has now said that because there's a surplus of Pfizer vaccine in the country due to low demand, the country has informed both Pfizer and the European Commission that it, Poland, will no longer receive or pay for the shots. There are about 25 million of the vaccines in storage and nearly another 70 million expected. This refusal is expected to result in a legal issue because of the contract negotiated by the European Union with Pfizer. Yeah, it was always about health, right? It was about contracts. Polish Health Minister Adam Niedzielski, explained, quote, "We asked both the European Commission and the main vaccine producing companies to spread these deliveries over 10 years, and most importantly, to pay when we receive vaccines, pay upon receipt rather than pre-order, apparently. Unfortunately, here we have faced complete inflexibility on the part of the producers, Pfizer. There was no way that we could seriously change the terms of this contract, and this contract was signed in a crisis situation." That's going to be interesting to see argued in court, because if Poland essentially says we were under duress because of the global situation, this health crisis, I bet a Polish judge would be like, "Yep, I feel you, dog. Don't worry about it. You're not held in harm." However, on the international stage, who knows? But yeah, we're still shipping, or at least Poland's still receiving Pfizer vaccines, hopefully for the next 10 years. Destroy it with fire. I don't know what else you do with that. By the way, there's a lot of people reaching out about, have you seen that documentary, air quote documentary, about It's in the Water? Essentially saying, oh, COVID-19 is cobra venom, and it's in the water, and the cobra venom affects your diaphragm, interrupts your nervous system, which affects your diaphragm, which means you can't breathe, which blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I watched it. I'm skeptical all the way around. Super skeptical all the way around. Too slick. That wasn't a documentary. That was a propaganda piece. That's my take on it. That's not a documentary. That's a propaganda piece. You do you. If you believe something else, go for it. But it was too slick. And it just didn't resonate as truth to me. Now, interestingly, you know what happens if a lamb gets bit by a snake? Nothing. The lamb's fine. The blood inside the blood of the lamb, when we're dealing with snake bites here, the blood of the lamb isolates the toxins. And the lamb excretes it when it takes a shit. And the toxins don't bother it. No big deal. So, for all your metaphors and your similes and your like-as comparisons, chew on that for a while. I'm not overly afraid of snakes. I just kill them. This one works good for snakes, right here. In other virus-related policy news, the United States will no longer be enforcing mask mandates on public transportation now that a federal judge has finally overturned the, quote, unlawful, end quote, authoritarian move. Airlines and train lines seem more than eager to be free of the business-squelching restrictions, ridding themselves of the enforcement almost immediately after the official announcement. Uber also threw out the mandatory mask policy for both drivers and riders, leaving it to riders uncomfortable with the new policy to cancel their rides. I'm a laissez-faire capitalist. You don't want to ride in the car with me if I don't have a mask on? That's fine. You don't have to. But also, you don't get to tell me I got to put one on. It's amazing to me how quickly all of these cucks who bent over immediately for the federal government and the FDA and blah, 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 Dr. Fauci, they immediately just bent over for the powers that be. How quickly. They must have been internally regretting this, because the moment those restrictions were lifted, so were those damn masks. Cucks. No spine. No spine whatsoever. Still, pharmaceutical companies continue to pump out their prize moneymakers. Moderna, for example, has announced that their new bivalent vaccine provides better, longer-lasting protection. Don't care. Both Moderna and Pfizer are hoping to file with the FDA for approved emergency use for children under 5. I wonder how Bear feels about that. Both Moderna and Pfizer are hoping to file with the FDA for approved emergency use for children under 5. The dogs don't like that either, do they? So far, clinical trials have failed to prove enough efficacy in that age group to meet FDA requirements. I wonder about the other age groups. I like these, by the way. Completely unrelated. These Hornady Sabo slugs. Yeah, point target. Yeah. Hornady made people take the jab. I'm not saying I support them as a company. I'm saying that those are good slugs. So, you know, whatever floats your boat, sweetheart. Growth predictions have been slashed because of the Russia-Ukraine conflict. According to the International Monetary Fund, those trustworthy, stalwart human beings who are friends of humanity, Ukraine's economy is likely to shrink by 35%. 35%. As for the rest of the world, the gross domestic product rate is expected to be between 0.2 and 0.8%, 0.2 to 0.8% less than what was expected before the invasion. The World Bank also cut its global growth expectations by nearly 1%. Slow down. Global recession, current, likely to become global depression, devaluation of fiat currencies. That's why you see certain countries moving to commodity-based currencies like Russia, China, the yuan, the petro-yuan, right? The Saudis are now having conversations with many different people, and they have been for years. So that's fair. But they're intensifying these conversations about maybe we don't want to just settle oil in the dollar. Maybe we need to diversify here. Mike Shelby at Forward Observer likes to say that this decline of America is a decadal process, meaning it'll take a decade or decades. I agree with that, unless there's some outlier, unless there's something that happens that forces the timeline, that accelerates, right? And there are things called accelerators that absolutely do that. But yeah, is it going to be overnight? Not necessarily. Possible? Yes. Probable? More likely decadal. The slow, steady decline, which is something we've been talking about for 4 years here. The slow, steady decline of the United States of America. As this continues to happen, resources tighten. When resources tighten, conflict, it becomes heightened and more regular. Whether this is conflict between Russia and the United States and China and the United States or whatever, key world players, global leaders, or it's conflict between you and your neighbors in your neighborhood because there's only so much food at the grocery store and your dollar's freaking worthless. And because of the economic slowdown, there's fewer jobs and lower wages. And therefore, there's only so much earning that one can do anyway. So now you're in direct competition, literally, with your neighbors. In an area where resources are not produced, resources are consumed. And security is very hard to affect positively because of your effed up population density. And now you're in the midst of conflict, perceived or actual, with your neighbors. But man, they got a great golf course right up the road, and good schools and nice paved roads. And did you see the playground at the end of the cul-de-sac over there in this development? And there's a pool. There's a pool, man. You can go to the pool. Yeah, you and everybody else, 400 people jammed into a 50 capacity pool. Yeah, whoring in Babylon. After all the shiny things, man. And unfortunately, I think too many people think things are hard now. No, things are wonderful now. Things are beautiful now. Things are easy now. I'll tell you what, if you can't do the hard stuff now, why are you even prepping? And I have to go out of my way to remember the 1 in 10 rule. Right? Like Messiah healed 10 lepers at one point. Only one of them came back and said, thank you. It's not about the 10. It's not about the 9. It's about the 1. It's about the 10% of y'all who are out there doing the things, getting after it. The other 90% of you who are just whoring in Babylon, who are here for infotainment, best of luck to you. I'm not talking to you. Was that offensive? You should probably quit then. I'm not talking to you. Because you're not listening. You're just playing. TikTok, sweetheart. TikTok. Best of luck to you. China is moving to strengthen, quote, strengthen strategic coordination with Russia, end quote. The Vice Foreign Minister of China, Lei Yucheng, said to Russia's ambassador, quote, no matter how the international landscape may change, China will continue to strengthen strategic coordination with Russia for win-win cooperation, jointly safeguard the common interests of the two countries, and promote the building of a new type of international relations and a community with shared future for mankind, end quote. That seems like some communist blah blah right there, but it shows where their head's at, right? Quote, if the PRC, People's Republic of China, Ned Price, U.S. Department of State spokesperson, Spy Boys, said, quote, if the PRC were to provide weapons, supplies, or seek to help Russia evade sanctions, there would be a strong consequence for that. End quote. Yeah, I don't believe you. They don't believe you. There's no strong consequences. What's Biden going to do? He's going to make a speech, a strongly worded, poorly delivered speech after which he shakes hands with imaginary people and wanders off for ice cream? Yeah, I believe that. Oh, or is Millie going to be the one to take people to task? Sure. Adjust your OODA loop, boys and gerbils. America's not the big kid on the block anymore. We could be. We could be. We have that potential. We have that capacity. And what comes next? I don't know. America 2.0, America 3.0, depending on where you're counting from and who you are and what you believe. Possible. But the decline of empires, we're there. A new empire will arise. The question is, which empire? Is it going to be the phoenix of the United States of America rising from the ashes? Is it going to be Russia? Is it going to be China? Everybody, every human being, and every country acts in their own self-interest. Whether they know it or not, even if they're bad at affecting their own positive self-interest. We all act in our own self-interest. It's a biomechanical self-preservation mechanism, right? Russia wants Russia to win. China wants China to win. The United States, us, we want us to win. Our leadership, air quote leadership, not so much. And I've been reminded on several occasions lately, they're not our leaders, they're our public servants. Yeah, they are serving themselves, homeboy. They're not serving us. And they don't care about you. And the American people have cucked for so long, for so hard with these public servants that there's no accountability anymore. And I could rant epically on that because there's an entire 2A support industry, man. I'm a Second Amendment rights advocate. Cool. These are not toys. These are not range toys. They're not for living in a safe. They have very specific uses. That's all I could say about that on YouTube. Because, you know, free speech. Thank you, information cartels, Apple, Google. They're not toys. Americans are fat and lazy and complacent and don't care to actually put in the hard work, the effort to hold people accountable. And you're afraid. Americans are afraid. If you're afraid now, what are you going to do going forward? You're going to fold like a cheap lawn chair, homie. We've not seen anything yet. Nothing. And so for the 10% of you that are awake and paying attention, I appreciate you. I am thankful for you. The 90% of y'all that are playing, pull your head out of your ass. Start taking this seriously. I have food to put in buckets today. I have to move my sheep. I need to plant in my garden today. And I am going to spend time with people that I do life with, that I love today. What are you going to do?